Mr. Chulananda Samaranayake, thank you for joining me in the Atharamadiyava channel to talk about translations. Now, the reason I'm picking this topic is in a country like Sri Lanka, where there are three languages in use, English, Sinhala, and Tamil. You know through our history that not much cultural exchange or even knowledge about each other's language exists between Sinhala and Tamil. And that could be one of the reasons for the ethnic troubles that we had in our recent history. Before we get to that, Mr. Chulananda, is it okay if I call you Chula?
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, so Chula, before we get to that, can you talk about what language means to particular communities and what it means for the nation, for the country to have two ethnicities living very close to each other with the majority of both communities not knowing each other's language? What does it mean, like for reconciliation, for peace? What does this kind of situation mean?
Yes, in Sri Lanka, there are three main communities. I mean, Sinhala, Tamil, and Muslims. And there are certain other communities, but main communities are Sinhala, Muslim, and Tamils. And there are two main languages. Now they are both official languages, Sinhala and Tamil. And English is considered as the linked language. But unfortunately, during our history, we are neglecting each other's language. That is my experience. I think it starts from 1956 with the introduction of Official Language Act, number 33 of Official Language Act, that was introduced by SWRD Bandaranaike. Some says with the intention of giving the prior place to Sinhala language against the colonization, I mean the white people. But the result of such act is the neglection of we neglected totally the Tamil language, and we made some discriminations to other, I mean not other, our comrades, our brothers and sisters. That created a long-lasting problem in the country. It spread over Muslims also, and we had to face 30 years war, especially because of our adamant position that the Sinhala is the only language that we can use in Sri Lanka. But now the constitution says that the Sinhala is the official language of the country. Sinhala shall be the official language of the country. Then it says Tamil also an official language. English should be the linked language. But now the ship has gone. We have neglected each other in the early period. I mean, before 1956, especially Tamils, they tended to learn Sinhala as well as Tamil. But after that, 1956, they also gave up learning Sinhala as one of the official language of the country. And most of the Sinhala people, still the problem is this, as a translator, I know, still there are no enough people in the Sinhala community who can communicate with Tamils in their own language. So there is a huge gap between these two communities, not the two communities, in three communities. I mean, Sinhala and Muslims and Tamils. Muslim and Tamils both use Tamil as their official language. Sinhala use their official language as Sinhala. But the problem is, we are running after the English, but not the Tamil. So
the strange thing is, Chula, given that we have so much problems between these two. When I say these two communities, I'm talking about the language community.
Yeah.
Because as you correctly pointed out, there are three ethnicities involved, but two language communities.
Yeah.
Given these problems, what made us neglect learning the closest language to us. For example, I don't know Tamil, and I am the daughter of a linguist. I am interested in languages. Still, I have not learned my own compatriots' language. What made this situation, Chula? Do you know? Is it like arrogance or not seeing the necessity? Because we saw the results of that. We saw the results of not knowing each other.
Yes, we are the victims of that.
Absolutely, both communities are. What made us do this, you think?
According to my view, I think that is political. Because of the political system, our politicians, especially our politicians, I don't know whether Bandaranaike purposely did it to neglect Tamil language. There is an argument about that matter. But I think most of our politicians are racists, both in Sinhala and Tamil communities. So, and in the meantime, our education system is not prepared to teach our students to respect each other. So Sinhala students are learning Sinhala and English. Now Tamil students are learning Tamil and English as their own languages, but we are not ready to share our experience with others' language. That is the main thing. But during the past period, I mean, the elder community of the Tamils, most of the Tamils in elder community, elders, they can use very well Sinhala. I have met so many people who are fluent in Sinhala, English and Tamil. But the younger generations, the present generations, they don't want to learn Sinhala because they believe that the Sinhala politicians and the Sinhala people are not ready to learn Tamil. So I think that is political, but this must be rectified by our education system. So the Minister of Education or the government should take steps to teach Tamil, English and Sinhala in every school. Unfortunately, we start learning English since grade 3. This
Even
is the harsh
then,
reality.
whether we actually learn it is a different conversation already, because I teach English in the campus, basic English, and I realize the problems there. So Chula, but just to get back to Tamil now, you said it's political. One of the oldest political, I think, truths is that divide and rule. You know, do you think that horrible divide and rule also mattered here? Because obviously the decision to make Sinhala only made Bandaranaike the next prime minister. Incredible. So once you start lifting up a particular community, naturally that person gets more votes. And if it's a majority, definitely. So this is the thing, because I don't think anyone has a problem in Sinhala being declared the official language as against the white people, because when we came out of colonialism, we needed to feel proud of ourselves. But I think the problem is we only thought of one particular community and neglected the other one.
Other community.
Right? And in 56, because I was not even born then, but 60s, 70s, were there no attempts made? Chula, I know you were not born either, but at least during the 60s, 70s, were there no attempts made to, like, I know there were a lot of glossary committees put to advance Sinhala and, you know, to make it enter the modern world. Was there nothing similar happening in the Tamil community, you think? Like, did they have glossary committees, or did they have, you know, try to make links between the two native languages also?
I have no enough information regarding that, but I think that there were people in both communities, especially the leftists. They were always trying to join these communities. They did much to achieve the target. But
What's the name of that writers community, Chula? There were writers, leftist groups that cut across ethnicity, no? There were, like, for example, Santan was part of it. Ayadure Santan. There were writers, leftist group who worked together, Sinhala and Tamil writers.
But unfortunately, these experiences are not familiar to us. That is the problem.
There's nothing similar in our generation, no? In our generation, there's no similarity. because of what happened in 1956.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also wanted to tell I think everyone knows it, the first ethnic problem started in 1958, where the Tamils protested this act.
Yeah.
And in Galle-Face, there were protests and all that.
Mm.
Okay, Chula, to get back to the present, now, what are the methods we can take? You said teach Tamil also, but it will have to start from nursery or grade 1.
Yeah.
Do we have teachers? What are the practical problems that we need to overcome if we were to now ask the government, so please teach Tamil so that we can also speak in Tamil. It's being taught. Sometimes basic Tamil is being taught till grade 6, I think.
Yeah.
But what are the practical things that you suggest?
I think the most important thing is to change our education system in that case. And if we can start teaching Tamil, English and Sinhala, not only up to grade 6, 7 or 8, but at least up to grade 10, that will be a certain solution to this matter. And in the meantime, we can popularize languages in the country, because now we all are running after the English, because we are trying to go out of this island, not to stay here. Now the situation is becoming bad to us under the present situation. So our only target is to learn English or any other foreign language.
Korean, Chinese, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chinese, French, most of us trying to German, but not the Tamil. So first of all, we have to encourage our people, all the people, to learn each other's language. That means for Tamil, to Sinhala, for Sinhala, to learn Tamil. But the main problem in this case is the lack of teachers who have the ability to teach these languages. I know that most of the Tamil people in the Tamil community, they also have no sufficient number of teachers who are fluent in both Sinhala and Tamil. In my field, in the translation field, we are not having enough translators to translate from Tamil into Sinhala, Sinhala into Tamil. So at that point, we need, I mean, the translators in government public service, there are 380, nearly 380 posts, they are vacant in my service. The most grave problem is we don't have enough Tamil translators. We have English Sinhala translators, but no Tamil translators. So somehow we have to start this. I don't know whether the education department, education ministry will be able to find sufficient number of Tamil teachers, because in universities, especially in Jaffna University, they teach, I think, Tamil and English, but not Sinhala.
So a condition, before we get into translation as a discussion topic, to be a Tamil teacher in the South, it is necessary for them to know both Sinhala and Tamil, is it?
Yeah.
Chula?
Yeah, yeah.
Knowing Tamil won't be enough. Tamil and English.
No. To both languages, yes.
So that's the problem. That is why we can't. So if I were to go to teach Sinhala in Jaffna, do I have to know Tamil as well?
Yes.
If I know Tamil and Sinhala and English, won't that be enough?
I don't think. We should have the knowledge in Tamil also.
Right, because it's also cultural, no? Knowing the language is to know.
Otherwise, they will reject us. No? If I go to the Jaffna and try to teach Sinhala through English, then they will not embrace us. They will reject us. The same thing happens here also. If we are taught Tamil through English, then we will not accept it. That is natural. No? If other is speaking our own language, there is a relationship.
So yeah, now I see the problem, because people bilingual in Sinhala and Tamil, if that is a precondition for teaching, then we'll have a huge problem. Right. Has this always been the case, Chula? Since independence, we've always
in the early period, there were people who are fluent in both languages, but very systematically, the politicians made the gap between Sinhala and Tamil community. First, they started making that gap between Sinhala and Tamil community. Then it goes to the Muslims. And then we started struggle between Buddhism, Catholicism, and Hinduism. This is political. That is I always say that this is political. We were living very peaceful manner in the past, but when our politicians starts their ruling system, they are the people who use divide and rule very well.
You remind me of my discussion with Ayadure Santan for a different reason.
Yeah.
He also said he went far enough to say that even the riots, he said, don't call it ethnic riots, call it political riots.
Political.
Yeah, it's quite okay. To get back into translation now, Chula, within the context that you just explained, how important would translators be? Now, we discussed the problems in teaching, and those are long-standing problems. Even I don't have an inkling of how to get at it, except say that from nursery or grade 1, we start to teach Tamil to the Sinhala kids and Sinhala to the Tamil kids. Maybe in 15 years' time, we can see a result, right? We don't know. These are not quick answers. Within the situation we have in Sri Lanka right now, what role can translators play in a way sorting some of these problems out?
Actually, the translator is the person who is mostly needed under the present context, because in a situation where we are not able to introduce Tamil and Sinhala teachers to both communities, I think the translator has an important work as a bridge maker, cultural bridge maker. Normally, the translator is considered as a cultural bridge maker. Now we are making bridges from other countries, especially from English literature, Japanese, French, Chinese, German, and Hindu all. But still, we are not making this bridge between Sinhala and Tamil communities. So we are in need of a large number of translators who can bring the Tamil culture and their writings into Sinhala language in the meantime to introduce our literature to the Tamil community. Still, I think it is not less than 100, I think, the Tamil translations we have in Sinhala.
Apart from translation, Chula, I was thinking, I don't even know. I mean, even by name, I don't know who the Sri Lankan Tamil writers are.
Yeah.
So that's weird, no? Like I know if you ask me about English literature, I probably know the Pradeep. Hold on, Pradeep. You can hear music suddenly. Chula, what I'm saying is, I would know who writes in America right now, famous people. I probably know a little bit about what happens in the UK. But if you were to ask me who the writers of Sri Lankan Tamil community are, I wouldn't know. And that is like, it's quite a shocking thing. It doesn't strike us that we don't know who's the close, and probably his experiences are very close to mine. So, and we just are not, when you say Tamil literature, there's also South Indian that we have to consider. That's a different country altogether. But our own Sri Lankan Tamil writers, we don't know. There are a few translators though, like Swaminathan, Vimal, and Sivalingam Anu. But apart from that, like about how many do you think exist who can take Sinhala literature to the Tamil world?
Actually, the problem is this. Now, when we talk about Tamil writers, there are two things that we should pay our attention. Most of the Tamil writers, I mean, living at present, are writing in English, especially the people who are living abroad. Here, there is another problem that I had that experience while I was behind bars in 1980s. I was kept behind bars with many Tamil people. Some were from upcountry, some were from Jaffna. They were said to have supporting LTTs. Most of the Tamil people who have been arrested prefer the books brought from India. not their own literature. Junior Vigadan, and so many Tamil booklets, magazines, novels, short stories, they were buying not their own writing, but from India. I asked one of my colleagues the reason for it. He told me that very cheap price. The price is the matter. They are able to buy a book just spending a few rupees, not in their own writing, but the book imported from India. That has done a great damage to Tamil community for their development in their literature. We know Dominic Jiva. That's all. We have not familiar with Tamil writers. You mentioned about Sivalingam Manu and Swaminathan Vimal. They are the present generation. But there are no enough, there are translators, a little, few translators in public service who can translate things from Sinhala into Tamil, but they are official translators. They translate only official documents, not the literature.
Chula, I'm sure there are Sri Lankan Tamil writers, but it's very interesting that you said the publication cost would make it very hard for them to thrive, because if it's cheaper to buy from India, and Sinhala writers don't have this option because we are the only ones who write in Sinhala. But I can see the Sri Lankan Tamil writers having a huge problem because they'll have to compete with cheaper publications from abroad.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they would have existed, which we don't even know about.
In the meantime, there are differences in the language also. Jaffna Tamil, Batiklo Tamil, and Upcountry Tamil. There is slight differences of the language among these three areas. Normally, Jaffna Tamil thinks that the language they use in Jaffna is the most corrected one. They are complaining about the writings of Batiklo people and upcountry, especially upcountry people.
Standardization of language has always been conflict ridden. Now the English that we say is correct English would have just been a dialect before it became standardized.
Yeah.
So all this is highly political. But I was thinking these questions, I will try to get a Tamil writer and ask him these questions, because as you say, we are not very familiar with actually what's happening there. How many Tamil work written in Sri Lanka has been published into Sinhala? Chula, do you know?
I have no idea. Very recently, I was given a book by Charan, who is living in Canada now. 3 or 4 years ago, I met him at Colombo. At that time, he was with a book called Ummat. I asked, what this book? He told me that has been written by a Muslim girl, Shamila Said. She is very famous now. Ummat.
I have that book.
Ummat. Yes. I am translating this into Sinhala these days because I got the permission from Shamila. She agreed to give me the translation rights. So
Shamila and I were in one panel together, and so always it has to be Tamil, English, Sinhala then.
Yeah, that is the way that it came. Because it was translated into English in India and published by Bloomsbury, according to my knowledge.
Get that for you. Give me a minute. This is the one, right? Chula?
Yes. This is...
Yeah.
How did you get it?
I was with a panel. I was in a panel with her.
Right.
So I met her.
It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book.
It is. And
especially the point of view from women.
Exactly. But Chula, this is an odd question to ask, and I guess I should have done the research on that. Have books been translated directly from Tamil to Sinhala and written by Tamil writers?
Sorry?
Have any Tamil writers, Sri Lankan Tamil writers, been translated to Sinhala?
I think there are a few books, but I can't remember the thing, because at Godage bookshop, there are certain short story collections, especially short story collections, translated directly from Tamil into Sinhala.
Who does them? Sinhala writers or Tamil writers have done?
Single translator.
Mm.
I think one Upal,
Mm. I should have done the research actually before I asked
Yeah.
you that.
But
Right.
very
And
few, very few.
very few,
Yeah.
sadly, no? Yeah. And you mentioned Charan, and Charan is a son of Mahakavi, right?
Yeah.
So we had
Charan is also a poet, no?
absolutely.
He's a
And
wonderful poet.
absolutely. And we had very good poets in
Mm.
Tamil. And again, sadly, very few translations. So
Yeah.
we have a dearth of knowledge, and two of us are into books. We read a lot, and we still don't know enough about. I think I know less than you. You know much more than me about the Sri Lankan Tamil writers community. So these are sad gaps that we need to fill. So I'm going to move forward to ask you about the translation process.
Yeah.
One thing, Chula, is that
But
translation.
before that, can you give me a time to mention something? Today,
Yes, please.
there was Vidyodaya Literary Award ceremony.
Yes.
At that ceremony, one book was
The
actually
Sudha Singha. Yeah.
Sandarasi.
Yes.
Yes.
Sudha
That's a
Singha.
wonderful book written about
Yes.
the burning of Jaffna Library. I think that has been accepted very well by the Tamil committee. It is being translated by Swaminathan Vimal these days, according to my
Excellent.
knowledge. Now
Yes.
they are going to publish it in Tamil.
That's wonderful. And I think Kaushalya Kumara Singha's
Yeah.
Mita Has Kaulueng Eben,
Yes.
and also Prabhat Jai Singha.
Yeah.
I can't remember which book. Prabhat Jai Singha was translated.
Yeah.
So some of our very good writers are being translated.
Especially our short stories have been translated. Prabhat, Nishanka Vijayaman, and a few others. Because once I was in a panel for selecting good short stories to translate into Tamil. We selected 12 short stories, but still the project is going.
Yes, I wish the other thing will also happen,
Yeah.
Chula. We really need to know what they are writing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if we are honest about it, some of it will get banned also because they would be writing what Jaffna went through. And we don't know. We are selectively blind about that. I also want to mention another book which I think should be translated into Tamil, Kathikawa Amarasingha's Dharani.
Dharani.
Have you read that, Chula? So
yeah.
That'll be. I really think Tamil people would like to read.
They would like it. Yes, they would like it.
Again, what a woman felt about, all that.
But the problem is this huge burden is over the shoulders of Anu and Swami. So we have to find
people.
many translators.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So as you say, the same problem that affects teachers would affect translators also. How do we learn?
Yeah.
Because even if I want to learn now and I'm hoping to join a course soon, I'm going to start by scratch and it's going to take a huge time because Chula, I'm going to get into translation as a concept. Many people believe that translation is from language to language, right? But isn't it actually culture to culture?
Yes, it is culture to culture. Translation is not a technical matter. Most people think that the knowledge in two language is enough for a translator, but it is not enough. He must have a wide knowledge about the cultural things, political, geopolitical, and all the aspects of others. If he decides to translate a certain work of another country, so it is cultural actually. That is why I am saying that he's a cultural bridge maker, because we are not only bringing the story, but the many things behind the story. So the translator only thinks of the language matter. I think he is not a successful translator. He has to learn, he has to read much of things, especially when I select a book for translation. First thing I do is try to find other books written by the same author. And first I read all the books. Then only I start translation.
You have translated many books, Chula, and very serious books.
Yeah.
I can imagine the kind of research that goes behind it. And what are the particular problems that you have? For example, you have translated from many countries. You don't even stick to one region, right? what are the particular issues that you personally face? Like, say you're translating a Chinese, I forgot to bring that book out also. What are the problems that you will face when you meet these cultures which you're not familiar with?
There are certain problems that the translator has to face if he is ready to translate a certain work in another country. The first thing, he has to understand the background of the story and their cultural and political, all the things. So, but I think the Cyril C. Perera and our veteran translators, Cyril C. Perera, KG Karunatilaka, and Dadikam Viridrugu, who translated directly from Russian to Sinhala, we are fortunate when we compare us with them. Because of the technology, now I am having more facilities to overcome the difficulties I am facing. In the early period, as an example, when we read a Russian text, there are certain things that especially they are personal to them. In Russia, they have a food item called caviar. Caviar is made of raw of sturgeon fish.
Yes.
That caviar. So in the early period, we had no any idea what caviar is. Now I can go to the computer, just type something, then I can get the whole information. So these days, I am not having so many problems to find the backgrounds and all those things. But in certain cases, actually, when I translated the book Slaughterhouse 5, written by Kurt Vonnegut, he is a brilliant writer, and he used very well the American slangs. During that period, I had great problems to find the terms he used in English, and sometimes I asked some Americans to give me clarification. Some Americans told me that they are also not aware of these things. That is specially.
Kurt Vonnegut would almost be impossible for me to translate. For example, have you read Cat's Cradle?
Yes.
That's an amazing book. I wish you would translate it into Sinhala as well.
It's very difficult. I read it, but still I don't think.
It's amazing. The plot and the way he says this, I really do wish you could. Chula, now we are digressing a bit, but another novel I think you should translate is Fahrenheit 451. Have you read that?
No, not yet.
Please
Fahrenheit
read
451.
451. It's one of the best. The premise is it's a dystopian novel where it's a firefighter who is the narrator. In that country, if you have a bookshelf or even one book, your house gets burnt out. Having a book in possession is illegal. And if you secretly, for example, your shelf or my shelf, we have it, they'll come and burn the whole house down. Because books are illegal, like drugs. Please read it, Chula.
Who is the author? Fahrenheit 451. Yes, no, I'll search it.
Ray Bradbury.
Ray Bradbury. It's in your shelf.
Please read it, because I really think this should be translated. But if I start this conversation with you, we are going to have 2 hours of other things coming. But this, it's a bit like Cat's Cradle, but more translatable.
Right.
Because I won't ruin the plot for you, but it's very, very, it basically tells Chula, if you have knowledge, you're dangerous. And books are the source of knowledge. So having a book is illegal. And it starts with this firefighter. He watches the man, someone like you. He watches the man who's watching his house burn. And he says he was so calm. I wanted to know what his power was. So he steals one book inside his firefighter coat. That's the start of the story. Imagine, and then how he realizes what books do. So have a look. I mean, you can borrow this if you can't find it here. So digression there as well. Chola, for example, how much research do you do? Let me bring your book. I know you have. Okay, I can't find it now because too many. But for example, a Chinese author, how much research do you do, Chula, when you, for example, translate a Chinese author? What is the name? The Picture of a Heart? What is that book?
I have translated two Chinese writers so far. One is Mo Yang, he's Red Sogam. And
Yes.
then the other writer is Yu Hua. No, three writers. The other one is Yu Hua. His two books. One is To Live, and the other one is Chronicle of a Blood Merchant.
I have that one, the last one.
Yes.
I'm looking at the, can't find. Yes.
Oh, yeah. The third one is Yan Liangqi. His
Yes.
two short novellas I have translated. One is called The Years, the Days, Months and Years. The other one is Marrow.
So my question, Chula, how
Yes.
much, for example, now Chinese culture, how much research do you do research on the culture itself? And you said you do. How much do you read their history? What kind of context do you provide yourself before you translate?
Normally, actually what I did is I read whatever I can find about Chinese literature and their history. So the books I have selected belongs to the period of Mao Zedong. So because I am a leftist, actually, I believe in Marxism and socialism. So I am interested in their writings also, especially in Russian writing as well as Chinese. So I started to find from Lu Xun, then Bajin. They are the most prominent writers of China. And then the other one, he is not famous in Sri Lanka, Mao Dun. Mao Dun is the cultural minister under Mao's government. Now there is an award in the name of Mao Dun Award, like Pulitzer and all other things. So I started reading about their culture and their politics, especially the country after Chinese Revolution. So during that period, I got some ideas about their way of living, their hardships, especially the hardship they endured under the Mao Zedong's period, and then after Deng Xiaoping's period, the change they made in their economy, especially they introduced open economy whilst keeping the political system under their hands. And with these readings, I could gain some knowledge about their society and their culture, especially after the revolution. So the Mo Yang is the most prominent writer, is the Nobel Prize winner in China. He has written books about the Japanese invasion and the revolution, after the revolution, and the present day China. So I have read not much, but more than 20-25 novels about the Chinese uh, society. So I think
Did you just say 25 hours is not much? Oh my goodness.
not much actually, because
Okay.
it's a large country and huge literature there.
Okay.
So with that reading, only I could get enough knowledge about their culture and society and their political system. Nowadays, I don't think that they are following socialist theories. Now they are also a capitalist country according to my state capitalism. This is their political system. And in the meantime, I am interested in China because we are like the paste of the sandwich. In one party, are Indians. The other way, there are Chinese. So we should, I mean, we should learn the literature of Indians as well as Chinese.
India, if you talk about the Indian, I'm not too familiar with Chinese literature to tell you the truth, and I can just imagine what an ocean of knowledge is there. I'm a little familiar with Japan because there are so many Japanese translations coming in because of Murakami or Botchan or Kawabata. Those are we've and now people like Ishiguro also. Yes, so he writes in the West. There are links to Japanese writers, but China is not very familiar to me, but that could be my own failing. Chulananda, how many books have you actually translated up to now?
More than 90 translations.
What are the countries you have covered?
Especially Russia, India, China, America, and so Mario Vargas from Peru, no? Yes.
So those now he is difficult to read even in English, no?
Yosa, but he's a nice writer. I like very much because
Okay,
I have seen many interesting things in his novel. If you want to write a novel or a short story, I think he's the university that you can gain knowledge how to write. I see that features in Lianaga Amarakirti's short stories also. He has read very well Yosa.
Which collection are you referring to, Amarakirti's?
Amarakirti's he has very recently Gedara Vatasitiyam.
Yes, I read that.
Yes.
Fantastic.
He's a
Yes.
brilliant writer in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, short stories are classics. And even, Alupata Ministry.
Alupata Handeva.
Yeah, the
Alupaya
Aranchi.
Aranchi.
CTC camera. Imagine calling that Alupata Aranchi, like, it's brilliant use of language. Okay. So, Chula, the last question I will ask you. In this country, I read the transcript of your speech that you gave at a translation day. And
At
you
the
had
Department
said,
of Official Languages.
I think so. And you had said, if we do not treat translators with professional respect, you can't think of anything improving. And what is the position given to translators in Sri Lanka, Chula?
Translators are neglected in this country, especially in the public service. I am working as a translator since 1996. I joined the public service in 1994, February 1st, 1994. Then my first workplace was Department of National Archives as a graduate assistant. Then I sat for the competitive examination for selecting translators. And I myself and two other candidates were selected. Only three, all three for Sinhala English translations. And I joined the translator service. One girl was there. She left the country. Now she is living in New Zealand because of the frustration she had. And now I have served more than 26 years in my service. This is not my story. I had to be given my promotion after 8 years of service, but I am given that promotion after 26 years. We have no we have no service minute in every public post. I mean, in every service, they have a service minute. We also have a service minute, but that should be revised according to the present conditions. But still, it is not revised. It is being revised. It's being revised. Always the process is going. So most of the translators are frustrated and they are leaving the country. There were 3 girls in my branch in the Ministry of Public Administration. Now they are living in Australia. Right? There is a huge frustration among translators. First, there must be a recognition for translators, professional translators, and they must be facilitated with the necessary things. Not much things, the technology and the glossaries and dictionaries, all things can be done through a computer now. Still, the computer is a luxury in public offices. So first thing is the recognition. Then the salary paid to the translators, especially in the government service. And the ways that they can have some trainings, they are not given foreign trainings. Almost all the public senior public service staff grade are given opportunities to be trained in foreign countries. But the translators are not given such chances. So the service is now in the worst situation. So if we want to develop this worst scenario, we have to, first thing, we have to recognize translator as a profession.
What ministry does this come under?
Sorry?
Is there a ministry in charge of?
Yeah. Translator service comes under the Ministry of Public Administration. And the
But
translator,
not Rajabhasha Department.
no, Department of Official Language, they have their own translators. They
Are
are
they
also doing
treated
the
any
same thing.
better? Are they treated any better, Chula?
No, they are also in the same situation.
How many people are we talking about? Professional translators like you. How many does Sri Lanka have?
I think less than 400.
Whole country has less than 400.
400. I mean, when we consider the Tamil single translators, less than 100, I think. Less than 100 or less
So
than
sad.
50, I
That's
think.
so sad.
Yeah.
So another question related to this. There is a difference between official translators and literary translators,
Yes,
right?
there is a huge difference between these two translators. But I think I'm an official translator. I am working in the Ministry of Public Administration. But before that, I translated the short stories and novels as a hobby while I was kept behind bars in 1980s. That is my starting point as a translator.
I need to ask you, though I know, but some listeners may not know. Why were you behind bars, Chula?
Because of my politics. Actually, during my university life, I was a supporter of socialist student movement. I mean, under the JVP politics, and we were against that government. And 3 times I was arrested. One by army, once by army. The first time by the army, second and third time by the police. So the only weapon that I had to fight back at that time was the literature. So in my cell, I started reading and writing and translating. This is the way that I came. But when we consider about the official translator, that means the translator who works in the public ministry or department or a corporation, they are just confined to translate the official translations, cabinet papers, circulars, and office correspondence, all those things. The unfortunate thing, most of our translators are not interested to widen their horizons.
I would say that the list you gave is horribly boring, right?
Yeah.
Imagine
Yes.
just doing that.
Within 1 year, you can get all the knowledge about the official translations. That is mechanical.
Yes.
When you are given the document, then you can just translate it. But literary translation is not so easy. To do that, we have to learn, we have to work, we should have an enthusiasm.
Truly, like I know, I have seen many Tamil people complain that official letters come to them only in Sinhala. So is the lack of Tamil translations one of the problems,
Yeah.
or
This
is
is
it
the
just not caring?
Yes, this is the problem in the public service. But at present, I believe most of the ministries and departments, they anyhow send the writer the reply in their own language, because official language policy says the writer has the every right to get his reply in his own language. In which language he sends the document, that is the language that he should be send the reply. So our public officers are now trying their best to get the translation. So I know, because there are 3 translators in my branch, they are having heavy workload, because in other ministries and departments also request them to translate their letters also into Tamil. So the Tamil translators are having an opportunity these days to earn some money translating documents from Sinhala into Tamil. That is an opportunity the Tamil translators are having. Especially in English, translators also are having such opportunities. But more than that, Tamils are having much opportunities. But the problem is that we have no enough Tamil translators.
Exactly, I can imagine. So this is all connected to the fact that we are not trilingual, no?
The other thing is, most of the translators who are doing the translation from Tamil to Sinhala, Sinhala into Tamil are the Muslims, not the Tamils. Because Muslim people are
trilingual, no?
Sorry?
They try to be trilingual also, no?
Yeah.
Both races. All this. So reading back, just to finish your JVP story, how long were you behind bars, Chula?
The first time more than 3-4 months. Second time just 2 weeks at Gokarala police station while we were going to a funeral of our lecturer's brother. The third time I was kidnapped at Vihara Mahadevi Park, and that time I was kept in the 6th floor in CID building for more than 1.5 years. and they filed 2 cases against me under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. But I fought them and I won the cases. Then I sat for my final examination while in the custody, and my examination center was at Telavala detention camp. After graduating also, they didn't release me. So I had to wait I got my degree in 1991, but I came out in 1993.
And you used that time to study and do translations.
Yeah. I wrote poems, short stories, and translations. That was another university to me.
I'm glad you recall it that way, Chula, because I can imagine also the hurt and the pain that would have accompanied it. And I remember something that someone else said. In 1971, all the people who were imprisoned practically got educated within the jail.
Yeah.
They actually allowed it.
Yeah.
But the 80s, where you were caught, that it wasn't that benevolent. That there were many people who lost their lives or were tortured. So I'm glad.
Life was uncertain these days in 1989.
Yes.
1971, they fought and they were defeated and they were arrested and they were brought to the courts. But
Exactly.
in 1989, it's a long process. There was a fighting, that's a guerrilla fighting. Then the government fought back and kidnapped, arrested people, and they killed, burned, many things.
The violence was like very widespread. So yours is perhaps the only story I have heard where you actually studied and came out as a translator. So Chula, can I just say thank you, because within your conversation we brought forward some of the problems we have in translation, and you spoke about the Sinhala Tamil lack of knowledge. As an English teacher, Chula, I think even English is a huge problem. Only a few people are fluent bilinguals, but others, young people, are struggling even if they had 13 years of schooling in English, teaching English, because the state school system, there is 13 years of English subject being taught, but there are students coming out who can't tell one sentence in English. So though it's officially there, the problems are very much part of the whole system. And the Tamil is worse because we simply stopped teaching Tamil. So there are language issues which let's hope. I mean, the government is generally deaf to many of the claims, but at least
I think we have to find new teaching methods if you want to teach languages. Because as an example, when our students go to Russia to follow their degrees, they have to learn Russian language. During their first year, they are taught Russian language without using any English word or any other in any other country. So within a year, they are fluent in speaking and writing in Russian.
But Chula, that's because they're immersed in the language, no?
Yeah.
So for example, anyone struggling with English, you put them in England for a year, they will learn it.
Yeah, that's
immersion always makes it easier. Like if we go to Tamil Nadu, both of us will be speaking Tamil within a week, But in Sri Lanka, the problem is we don't get immersed.
Yeah.
None of us stay in Jaffna, even for a month.
Yes. If you are sent to Jaffna, then situation will
so easily done.
Yeah.
Because there are South universities, there are North universities. If there were immersion programs where the Tamil learners come here, the Sinhala learners go there, it will help in so many other ways. But those things, because immersion is a different thing altogether, it makes it easier. So, I mean, as you say,
it is a matter to be discussed in policy discussions, no?
And also again politics, no?
Yeah,
having this kind of exchange will really go a long way in reconciliation. But whether we'll do it is another, as you say, political decision.
In Sri Lanka, reconciliation is like a chewing gum, no? Just we are chewing it. That's all.
That's all.
We don't want real reconciliation.
Exactly.
I think during the period of Chandrika Bandana, she tried, but she also failed. After that, that's real chewing gum.
Yeah, but now since you put this idea across, whether we can have teams of language learners going and surviving in a place where their language is not spoken, they have no choice but to learn for survival.
So have to jump into the water.
Exactly. So maybe we can float that idea as well. So Chula, can I say thank you for the discussion? Very interesting, because I am also a translator. Unfortunately, I only know Sinhala and English, but these issues that you spoke about, I have also thought about. So I was really blessed to have your input as well. Thank you very much also for sharing your history and your work. And the work you have done benefits the country enormously. So though this is not my position to say it, I want to thank you for that as well. So let me wish you all the best in your future things. I hope you translate Fahrenheit 451.
We'll see. First, I have to read it.
Yes.
And in the meantime, thank you very much for inviting me for this discussion.
Thank you, Chula. So I'll see you around sometime. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.